Welcome back to another video. Today I have a new LEGO set for August 2025. It is the super controversial Republic Juggernaut. Taking a look at the stats, it's set 75413 Republic Juggernaut with only 813 pieces. That is pretty sad. It is ages 9+, retails for an eye-watering $160 and comes with 5 regular minifigures and 3 battle droids. I think overall there is a lot to talk about with this set, but before we get into it, let's take a closer look at our minifigures. Despite what you think about this set, these minifigures are a fever dream to me. Being able to get Galactic Marines is literally something I never expected to get in LEGO, and I'm so happy. I think that their masks/helmet look fantastic. It's an all-new sculpt. The printing on the torso is fantastic. These minifigures obviously are lacking a little bit in terms of we have some really poorly printed waist capes that I would have liked to see some fabric or some plastic for. Unfortunately, you can buy those in the secondary market if they bother you super badly, but I understand LEGO made the choice not to include them because they wanted kids to be able to sit down their troopers. The other thing that is disappointing is seeing their backpacks. They are just a solid white, and yes, they are white in reality, but they could have had more detail. We have definitely had little printed pieces that go on backpacks this small before, so I'm not sure why LEGO did not decide to include something like that. But they all have standard clone trooper heads. Nobody is particularly special in this, but I think that overall they look great. The printing between the torso and the legs is fantastic, and it flows really well. There is a little bit of back printing also, but I'm not going to pull off those little things just to show that. Anyways, I really love the masks. I think they look great. Our other notable minifigures are Commander Bakara and Ki-Adi-Mundi. And Ki-Adi-Mundi is just a very small update from the last time we got him, which is good. I'm glad they didn't throw the same figure in. At this point, he's so old, I would have been shocked by that, but it's not a huge difference. This figure's pretty complete and well made at this point. Commander Bakara is brand new, which is really cool. It's always super neat to me when we get named clones, and so I am very excited about this for that reason. His helmet to me looks a little bit awkward, just the way that it's so overly large to accommodate the uniqueness of the helmet shape. But overall, I think it's really cool. Again, he should have a waist cape, and it is just printed on there, which is disappointing. But I think it looks pretty neat overall for what he is and what we get. And I'm not going to complain. I think that the minifigures that came in this set are honestly fantastic for the most part. And yes, they do have a couple of shortcomings, but to me, it's not enough to deter me from liking these minifigures. I think that the minifigures save this set a little bit from its doomed price point, if you will. So there is my opinion on that, but I think we get a fantastic selection of clone troopers and a new Jedi, of course, which makes it really fun. Okay, stripping away one of the very best elements that makes this set, I guess, feasible to spend the money on, and we are left with a very, very undersized turbo tank. So I guess just touching the controversy a little bit, this is our 4th turbo tank in the LEGO Star Wars history. It is done with its canonical name, the Juggernaut, which is really cool. I actually didn't know that these were called Juggernauts. I feel silly, but I didn't. They'll always be a turbo tank in my brain, but I have all of them, and which is one of the reasons, one of the driving factors why I wanted to get this one is so that I have all of them. There was more that went into that. I used a gift card as well, so it wasn't as strenuous on my wallet for a set so undersized. But a lot of people are totally boycotting this set and they're not going to buy it because the price per piece is 20 cents, which is really, really high. If you don't follow those standards, you can kind of just tell with your own eyes that 813 pieces for $160 is insane. I mean, there's definitely a lot of comparisons that are being made out there for sets that are similar price to see how much bigger they are. Star Wars, I believe, is LEGO's most overpriced IP, and it's been like that for a good while now, but really with this set they are testing the limits more so than ever, and I think that a lot of people are super unhappy with it. That being said, if we can strip away the price for now and just look at the set as a whole, I think that we can do a better review of it without it being tainted by the $160 price point. I will agree that it is incredibly expensive. In 2005, when I was a kid, I was 10 years old, and my most wanted set was the Republic Turbo Tank, and it's right here. I don't know if you can see it. It was $100 basically after tax, and that was something that I couldn't save for because I was too antsy. So $160 is insane. I know we live in a more expensive time, but it's definitely not worth its price. I think you have to just accept that, and if you can strip away that idea of it, you can have an unbiased look at this set itself. Plus, fantastic minifigures. So on an outward aesthetic of this turbo tank, the things that I really like about it are it does not have pieces that are going to fall off super easy. This little thing up top is going to be the most pop-offy item, if you will. I have let my son play with my other turbo tanks. He got in a phase last week of playing with them. He likes to line them up, and I was constantly having to put back on these like little pieces that are on the side. These ones are much sturdier, and as a whole, I think it's actually a relatively sturdy set. It got a whole lot of heat from LAN members for it coming apart, and I just want to say that I don't know where they're getting that from. This is me shaking the set and holding it by the sides. It's not coming apart. Now this lifts off. There's nothing to keep the lid on the turbo tank, if you will. In terms of like the actual rest of the turbo tank, it is one of the sturdier ones, to be totally honest. I have handled all 4 of these now. And this one potentially is one of the sturdiest ones that they offer, even though it doesn't come with a handle, which is kind of a disappointment. Other things that I like about this set are the clear windows on both sides of the turbo tank. I think that looks really good, and it has a really cool effect when you open it up. The crow's nest is really pathetic in this one, but I guess at least they included it. There's no stopper on it to keep it in, which is kind of a bummer, but it is no smaller in reality than the one that we get from, was it 2016, which I'll show. I'm going to use that one as just kind of comparison for this when we get to size later on. In terms of everything else, I like this dish okay, and then this little gunner turret thing is actually really quite cool. And so like aesthetically outside, people didn't like the wheels of this thing and la-di-da. These are not my favorite wheels. My favorite wheels are the 2005 version turbo tank, hands down. But like, I personally felt like the Clone Wars version was way too big. And my favorite one's the 2005 one. The 2016 got a lot of flack for being so undersized, and this one is so much smaller, which I'll show you towards the end. But let's go ahead and take a look at the rest of the set. Enough of me sort of ranting, but I don't know what LAN's talking about, the LAN members that got this set, because honestly, it holds up fine. I'm holding it from the sides. It's not coming apart. It feels very sturdy in my hand from any direction that you hold it, honestly. And so I don't know. I mean, I just had a small piece come off. It's a small side tile. But in terms of all of that handling, I'm just not clocking personally. So this is technically considered the front of the turbo tank. And we have some like little details down on the sides, some cannons, which I have not put studs in. You have to, in order to open this up fully, you have to either remove this crow's nest or lift it up a little bit, and you can get an access inside. You can also fold down the sides, just like in the 2016 version. It doesn't go all the way flat like we see in other turbo tanks, which is kind of a bummer, but I think it does enough. It is pretty small. I mean, it is scaled down, so it's going to be overall pretty tiny, but I think it gives a really cool effect to the inside with all of this like trans blue. It makes it look like they're looking at screens. I think that honestly it's really cool. We do have a sticker here and then a single seat for the front of the tank. There are some stickers here, but it's very minimal overall. I'm not upset about the sticker usage on this set personally. To access the main section, you can lift up this lid and you get seats for all of your troopers, as well as a seat in the center. You get a spot for weapons, which is fantastic. There's actually more room in this tiny turbo tank than the other turbo tanks, just due to the way that they have built this with more of an interior versus it being on like more of a Technic base. And you can kind of see that in certain elements. I'm constantly looking over to the side here, but a lot of these turbo tanks had like a mini build inside. Like they had like a little tiny ATRT or some sort of cannon or something that's stored in the center where really you would put your troops. So you can put a ton of minifigures. This fits everybody and more, because you can put someone here. You've got 5 seats in here, and then you have another seat back here. So there is a lot of space. You can put a clone up here, you can put a clone here. So you have a ton of room, and I really like the way that it looks when it's filled out. And then moving over here to this section, this is our smaller cockpit area, and it is a little bit more difficult to access, but you still get a really cool look at that interior blue that I think looks very cool. And that's it. That is everything that we get with this turbo tank. And so I do understand why people feel like it is a ripoff for the money. But in terms of a set itself, if we're putting aside the cost of it, it's honestly, to me, not bad. I really like the updates that they've done, mostly with the windows. I think it looks really cool. I think the The shape of the set looks just fine. The wheels aren't my favorite, but they're also not my least favorite, actually, out of all of the turbo tanks. And so just to compare with size, I have the 2016 version, which got flack for being a lot smaller. And here you can sort of see the difference. I have some characters on top. There is overall more detail. We've got like more headlights. There is no lighting on this turbo tank, and this is probably the first time that it doesn't have any lighting. So that's disappointing, but it's kind of pick and choosy. I personally don't think it's that much smaller overall. It is a little bit taller and then a little bit shorter. I mean, I think it's probably still the weakest one out of all of them, but I don't think that it's as horrible as everybody is saying. Now, we don't have any lower cannons that we have. You don't have them here. I guess if I face it forward. We don't have lower cannons like we have here. You can kind of tell the difference. But overall, I don't think that it's any more delicate than any turbo tank that we've had, but for $160, I definitely agree that the price is ridiculous. I was going to wait on this one if you'd seen my original video. I was going to wait on this due to the price, but I ended up with a gift card for my birthday, so I used that. Overall, though, the choice is yours to be made. This is something, though, that I purchased because I did want, and so I am in the minority, and yes, everybody's going to be like, boycott this, boycott this. I personally think that the minifigures are fantastic in this set. They really help balance out the atrociousness of the price on this. And while it doesn't make up for it, I don't think that the turbo tank is as bad as everybody is saying. That is my personal opinion from my experience buying and messing with the set and building it myself. Though it is a very quick build, I will say. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think in the comments below. And until next time, I will catch you on the next one.